Okay, we was talking about the pots going up in the air and various bits and bobs and the various showmen, and I call them showmen in the truest sense, that were actually on Sneinton Market. The pot man was certainly one. My grandmother's stall, to start with, was uncovered, and it was backed on basically to where the pot man used to be. So as a very young child, I used to wander down there and watch him in awe, to be fair. Then eventually my grandmother moved across the aisle in the market where they were actually undercover, and it was there that she introduced me to the way of selling in a market, and she actually indoctrinated me from a very young age, and was rather disappointed when eventually I didn't take over in the market on her behalf, which I was quite entitled to do. Behind my grandmother's stall were two brothers, Pete and Ted Smith, and they sold bric-a-brac. Pete sold cheap shirts. Right next door to my grandmother's stall was the sock man and stocking man, a guy called Jerry Cass. Next to my grandmother was another guy called Ernest, who sold shirts and anything he could get his hands on. The top stall was a toy stall, and that was basically new toys, no second-hand stuff. And then down the bottom of the market was the fruit and veg, and round the perimeter of the market you used to get all types of characters that would be selling anything that was, you wouldn't even give them a penny for it. There was an old chap who'd got big ears, big nose. It was looked like nothing you've ever seen in your life. And every week he used to turn up with something to sell, and he used to sell it. No matter, I think people felt sorry for him, and he used to flog whatever it was and go away with a bit of spending money. I never used to pay for a stall. I suppose really the interesting thing from my point of view was that I started down there with my grandmother at the age of 5, and she used to take me down most Saturday mornings. I would go down with her, and then when I got to the age of 12, I'd got a paper round in Ruddington where I lived. I was actually born in Sneinton, at the bottom of Sneinton, at the bottom of Highcliffe Road, number 3, and that was directly opposite Betts Farm, which unfortunately was, I say illegally, I'd better be careful how I phrase it, but it was a listed building, and it was demolished by a building, I suppose, speculator, and it was refused permission actually to build on that, and it should have been made to rebuild the building. But anyway, that's where I was born. Memories of the swill man coming from the farm in those days, just straight after the war. Actually, people emptying the plates of the dinners and whatever they'd left over for the pigs that were actually in the farm. Not the people that lived there, by the way, just running around in the pig pens and everywhere else. Anyway, from there, as I say, I'd go up to the age of 12, and I'd got a paper round in Ruddington, and I used to actually run from Highcliffe Road Saturday morning at, used to be up at 4, and I still wake up at 4 actually. Used to be up at 4 o'clock in the morning. Grandmother would give me a cup of tea, make sure I had some breakfast, and then she would have already packed the pram, and the pram was packed with all these suits and trousers and clothes and shoes, and I used to run with this pram up the dale past St Stephen's Church, down the dale past Billy, now what was his name, but not there was Glossop's there, but I think it was Billy Glossop. No, it was Britton, Jack Britton. He was the chap. He was on the left-hand side before the demolition, as you went down the dale and down towards the market, past the lamp, and then I would be there for approximately 5:45 to 6 o'clock. It was at that time, that's where the actual flower market was, before the stalls were fully erected, the bulbs and everything else, all the flower people. The meat market was further down Jackson and Lakins were on the buildings, which is now being developed. Anyway, I would leave the pram with the guys that were putting the stalls up, because they knew my grandmother. She'd been there for probably best part of 50 years, and I would pop over to Huntington Street outside Pullman's, catch the bus from the Trent bus outside Pullman's, get on it, take my newspapers on the paper round, jump back on the bus, get back to the market stall. If it was quiet, I'd go for a swim in the Vic Baths, either the Oval or well, it was the ladies' pool as well. That was quite nice. It wasn't always full of ladies, but it was called the ladies' pool. And of course, the Oval was the favourite one with the springboard in the corner. I suppose very character building. The market was. It's not a patch on what it was in those days. It used to teem from Market Square all the way down to Hockley. There was a constant flow of people coming down to go to Sneinton Market. Absolutely. And my grandmother always used to say that she would make more money on a Saturday morning than my dad made in a week at Raleigh. I'm not saying that's true. She probably made I think she did actually. She made probably a lot more. My grandmother stayed on that market, and she worked on that stall until she was 85. And she had a good, healthy life. She died when she was 99, and I will get a photograph, which I've got somewhere in the house, and I will pass it to you, Yvonne, and hopefully you will be able to put it on there. And I'm sure that anybody that actually visited that market at that particular time, once they see a picture of my grandmother, would know immediately. But very happy days of days past. Happy memories of days past. Super place, super people. Can't beat